In this video, we're going to focus on the Tailwind CSS Navbar or navigation bar. Depends on how you prefer to call it. Probably most people call it the Tailwind CSS Navbar, but you might call it navigation bar. Alright, to do this, what we're going to do is very simple. We're going to focus really on just a simple design here. Here we put a mini menu bar, or basically menu bar from left to right, and then eventually if you have a mobile responsive version here, which should show here in the center, basically takes the entire space here. Alright, so to do this, we need to make a div here. And this div, I will give it also an ID name, and this will be the ID navbar or navigation. Maybe it should even call here the nav tag as well. That makes even more sense. It will be navbar, it's the navigation. So in here, we're going to work with it. So what we're going to do here, just a quick design, we're going to do gradient first. I do like the gradient design. Gradient is quite common, or at least not common, but it's very catchy and grabs your attention. So what we're going to do here is the following. We're going to grab this. I'm just going to grab this default design, and afterwards we're going to give it a color. So in here, this will be the class, and this is quite nice here. So it says from, via, and to. So if you have 3 items, you need these 3 commands: from, which is the starting point, via, which is the middle point, and to is the ending point. If you only have 2 items, remove this. If you have more than 3, basically you need to have the via, and then again another color, then maybe here another via blue, blah blah blah, etc etc. You get the point. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make this blue, and what I want to do with this one, I will make this, or I'm going to remove this. I want to have only 2 colors. I'll make it blue, and this will be, let's say here, royal. Oh, I'm not sure if royal blue exists here. We can make this green for now. Alright, so we have this, and I'll just make this 600, and I'll put this on 800. So it's a quite darkish color. Go back here, refresh. Alright, nothing shows, of course. Why? We have nothing yet here. So if I put in here test, save that, refresh, we have now something looking, and it looks quite appealing. So let's start now. Alright, what we're going to do here immediately, we're going to give it a padding. Padding of 4 is more than enough, and then in here we're going to put in the menu bar or the navigation. What we can do here is a unordered list. That's what we want, and then in this unordered list, or we don't even need to have an unordered list, I realize we can just put it a anchor text. That's probably even easier because we don't need a unordered list here. We can just reposition them immediately. So we're going to copy this, and let's imagine we have 4 items here. Very simple. We have here the home or the welcome. We have the product page. We have the about us. And finally we have the contact, and maybe if you have another one like login or something like that, contact us. So about us, contact us, products, and here, home. Alright, so if I save this here, we have 4 nice items here. So we're not done yet here, of course, because this needs to be repositioned to the center. So to do this, we need to make sure that we have a Flexbox. So I'm going to give this a Flexbox with a positioning to force all of these in the center or to the right. I guess that's probably even more appropriate. We push it here to the right, but the moment we are mobile responsive, it will be in the center. Alright? So we say here the following. We're going to put in here Flexbox, and Flexbox is really fantastic. I absolutely love it. So we go into Flexbox. What we're going to do more? We say here justify, and then if I'm not mistaken, it's end. So I'm going to put in here. Let's save that and refresh. Alright, that works. But of course, we're missing still some paddings. We're missing some margins here and the proper design of it. So what we're going to do here is the following. We're going to give this a class, of course. And we say here padding. I'll just make it simple, padding 3. And we say border, and then we say rounded to make it rounded borders, and then we say text white, just like Bootstrap. I tend to make this always font white, but that's not the case. It should be text white. Copy all of this. Oh wait, I see here one more thing that you should have is the margin, so that we have some margin between there. So I say margin X and Y. So margin X, margin X, not margin Y. Only left and right margin, we need 3 pixels. Alright, if I save that, or well, before I save that, I just copy everything, paste, paste, and paste. Save this, refresh, There we are. That looks, to be honest, slightly too big. To be honest, a bit more hideous than I expected it. So what we're going to do here is the padding. We're going to adjust that one. So we say here padding top and bottom should be py will be 2, so it's smaller, and then px is 3. Alright. So the reason why is the top and bottom is far too big here. It's not in proportion with left and right. So this is why I'm doing that. So once I do this, match these now, paste this, refresh. Alright, that looks slightly better. So we have this here. We could do even a hover effect. At the moment we hover, we give this maybe a color. So we say hover. Then we say here font or text bold. That's, I think, what I'm expecting. Text bold. Save that, refresh. Hover. Alright, doesn't work. Let me double check what is the official term here. Bold. Font bold. I think that's the official term. And my internet is a bit slow at this moment. Sorry about that. So, alright, there's this. Font bold more. Alright, font is just not, it's not text but font. Alright, so colors is text. Text for colors, but font is for making the thickness of the things, or the boldness. That defines the boldness. So if I hover over now, does it work? It doesn't respond at all. Did I save this properly? Yes. So something doesn't work here. Is probably the hover effect. I need to double check how to trigger the hover and the other state. So the moment we have hover here, we have the hover outline, hover class, hover me. I was expecting something, so maybe I'm just not understanding exactly what's going on. Did I do this? If I click on it, alright, fair enough. We just leave that for now, because I don't want to spend too much time on that. So next thing we want to do is we want to readjust this. So if you work with CSS, you will have to know that we have to adjust this here. So what are we going to do here? So let's say you're starting from small, alright? Starting from this point of view, we're going to adjust this. So we say here the following. Basically what we need to do is we need to really think what CSS properties we need. So we need a few things. So let me break it down. This apparently doesn't work here in HTML, but that's alright. So what we need to do is we need to make height and width. Height plus width 100%. And I guess we can do this also as a position of absolute. And then finally what we need more is if we do position absolute, we say left 0, top 0, right? So what we're doing is the moment is here, we want to cover it all, but we want to start here at the very top and then make this all solid. Alright, so what we're going to do here now is let's look at this and let's explore what kind of terms we need to use for this. So let's say here position, I guess it will be position absolute or something like that, position dash absolute. Alright, static absolute. Alright, fair enough, this works. So we can copy this and let's play around with this. We say here, if it's small, it's absolute, and then we also need to do small. Oh, I realize it's not like that, and the reason why is that because there's also extra small, but extra small you don't specify with XS. It is specified as nothing. So this would mean that this must be specified as specifically here. So let's go back here. We have this padding, the flex must be at medium, or yeah, I guess at medium we want to have flex, and then if we have that, we say at medium we have justified and then everything else. So basically what happens is now we say absolute, starting from extra small to small will be position absolute, and after that, once we hit the screen size of MD, which is I think 740 pixels, something like that, at that moment it becomes flex. So let's save this and see what happens if this is really correct. Alright, so it is correct. That's the only thing what we have to do is here we have to delete this. We already figured out what we need to do. So then we say here, this is fine. Then I want to say here, full width. So we say width, full, and height, full. Alright, so if I do this now, there you are, so that works. So then we have to reposition these, of course, these are not positioned as well, so we're going to work on that. I personally do not like so much the rounded borders here. They look quite hideous, to be honest. I'm just going to remove them. I didn't like the design of it. Save that. Go back. Alright, this is slightly more better, and then maybe if we click on it, we could do something with it, but fair enough. So what we need to do here is when we have this position absolute, we have everything height 100%, width 100%. Here what we need to do here is the following. I'm going to search for the term. I need to check what's the term. This is the term column. Something is column. Flex direction column. Right. So this is the one. Alright, as you see here. Apparently it is still flex, but now it's being flex column instead of flex MD. So we can just remove this. And then we can say here the column. So if I save this now, go back here. There we are. Now we're going to put it in the center. We're very close to it. So we say here align items align. If I'm not mistaken, it's items center. So this would make them in the center here. Alright, but then I also want to make sure, are we getting the full width or am I missing something here? No, okay. Item center, because normally it should be horizontal as well. Oh, sorry, vertical. This I expected this to be vertical, but that's alright. Let me say here, justify, not end, but I want to do this, justify center. Let's see what happens. Alright, oh, that's it, of course. So now we have this here. Basically, this would be it here. You could, basically, we could have a button here to cancel this. And that would be a, well, we can make one. And if you want to make this, we need to work with a position absolute. Let's put it in here. Basically, this should be X. And then this is all fine. Font weight bold, fair enough, we can ignore that. But what I want to do here, I need to say here, the position is absolute. If I save that, then I will refresh. Alright, position absolute, but then I want this to be assigned. So we say here, let's say right, top, right, bottom, left. Alright, fair enough. This is the one I probably need. Inset. Alright, inset X, inside this. What I want to do is I want to put a X button, or basically a closing button, somewhere here, basically. So what we need to do is we need to go to the top, but somewhere in the right, with a few pixels around there. So let's look at that. So we say top pixels, alright, 1. Top -1, right. Let's see what we're missing. Alright, so we just copy this first to see what happened, and then we say top px. Save that. Go back here. Alright, we're getting close. I don't like this yet. I want it far more better, because only having one would not make sense unless we can use some padding. I guess we can use a padding or margin on here. Let's look at the margin. I'm going to give this a margin, and I think that would be more than sufficient. If we give it a margin, let's give it a margin 5 and see what happens. Refresh it. Alright. So basically now we have a button here. We have this, but if we close this here, oh, alright, we still have this here, so I need to double check what's going on here. What we have to do here, this one we need to hide. So I'm going to say here, display none. Display none. On the moment we do display none is the moment we are on medium size. So display, do we have display? Did I see anything hidden? Display. Alright, hidden is display none. So we can use that. So we say here, this at MD hidden, save that, and refresh this. So now it doesn't show, and I'm not expecting this here, so I'm surprised why this is here. Of course, I understand why now. This shouldn't be a surprise, because we should indicate here what is the size of the item here. So we say here, this is fine, but what we want to do is the moment we are basically this part here, so this should be here, and this should overrule. This overrules this afterwards, if I'm not mistaken, yes? Or not? Well, I guess we have to make the flex back to flex, or the flex column. Let's see, how do we undo this column here? It's like flex column, flex call. Now click on this. Alright. So what we need to do now is then basically flex row. So we go back to the original settings. Then you say here md flex row. Save that. Alright. What we have to do more is this one, justify end, position absolute. And the moment we are on MD, we should have here probably position relative. And what we also want to do is when we are MD, we should not be anymore on full. So we say here the height should be set on. Let's see how we can do or I guess height is auto, so that's what we need. H auto, it is there. Alright, I think there is. Auto height, let's double check. Auto height will be defined by the browser to determine the element. Alright, so we'll determine the element of the height. Fair enough. If I do this, then here, width, but width still needs to be full. So if I save this here, let's go back here. There we are. So that's what we have. I guess what we're really still missing is here the home button of a specific item. And what we should have normally here, this is the only thing that we will eventually have to figure out, is we have this button here when I click this. But if we click this, it should go away. How we could do this is we have to really see with this one, because probably there will be a conflict here. I can do it just in JavaScript. I'm going to create it. Just click JavaScript here. This is a toggle. And then in here, I'm going to give an ID. So we're going to give an ID. And what is the ID here? Let's double check. This will hide basically this one here. Let's see. We have this. Once we click on this, we need to hide this ID. So we can say the following. So function, and here we eventually have to do an onclick. So function, I would say toggle menu. So what we're going to do here is we say this one here. Const, and then we say navbar equals document.get element by ID. Alright, that's fine. And then we say here navbar. And then we say here the navbar dot add class. Sorry, I think that's not theirs. It's class list dot add, or it should be toggle, not add. So we want to toggle it basically. And here what we're going to do is here we're going to toggle the following. We're going to navbar, we're going to add up a class list here, and this should be on height. That's very important. Or basically what we're going to have this one height or hidden. So we have that one. Once we click on that, and then we'll be only on click. So let's see if this works. And here we say the following on click. And then we say here toggle menu. If I save this now, go back here and click on that. Alright, that doesn't work. Hidden is not defined. Alright. Oh, of course. I need to make this a string. Save that. Go back here. Alright, so that works beautiful. But now, of course, what we're doing is we're missing something. What are we missing? Well, simply the item as well, this one here. So what we need to do here is, I guess, we have to add up a new button. We can just copy that. And then it is in here as well. So what we have to do, we can add up this. I guess we can just put it in here for now. This is hidden. It will be display none. So that will create a slight issue. I guess we should work with the Z index. That would maybe make far more sense eventually, because what we want to do is we just put it at the very back. Create a Z index is better, because if you hide this, it won't be shown. So I'm going to say here z index. It's better. Z index. All right. So this is 0, 0, 0. All right. Is there a negative z index that we can use? Z index extends the negative. Apparently there is no z index negative. So what I will do is, all right, what we'll do is we just put this on the z index of 0. So this will not do anything at all. But what we will do is we will just put in another div item here. And this div is basically, well, it could be, I guess it could be down. Because what happens is we'll just put it at the very back. And what is the difference is because basically this is exactly the same. We can use something else because what we're dealing here with the absolute. I'm just going to grab this one. Now just make this BG. And we can do gray 500. Then if I save this, let's see what happens. And I just want to copy this one here and put it here as well. Save this. Go back here. Alright. If I click on this, what happens basically with our classes here? As you can see, we are adding a class. That's good. The only thing what I want to do now is I want to indicate here our z index. So I see here this is z index 0. Or maybe I can just make the z index 10. We toggle the z index 10. We're going to give this a z index of 10. So that the moment we click on it, it becomes this. And this will also be a z index of 10. So what will happen is we will, oh, I guess we can remove this one now. This should be not a z index of 10, it should be z index of 20. Reason why 20, it should overrule this one, or else it won't be visible. So if I click on this, alright, you can see that. I guess this is already what we need, but what we want to do here maybe is to open up the menu. We could do another item here. But this is already very close to what we need. Let's see here, this will be 20, that is 10, or basically this could be 10 as well, it doesn't matter at all. This has no value here. If I save this, let's double check again. There you are. And this should eventually change. We could do here is a hide. And what we could do is we hide and we show this the moment it becomes visible again. Or it's already here. This one will be an O for open. I'll just give it something. Refresh. So if I click on this, alright, there you are. So now we just have this very straightforward. It's quite simple. But what will happen eventually if I close this, there you are. And now becomes this. And this would be eventually then not the full gray here. Here would be eventually our own design, whatever we want in here. Because then this would not be anymore position absolute. This will be probably relative, etc., etc. We will make this MD as well. So we could say here MD relative, and this we can ignore as well. So this would be as well MD auto height auto, etc., etc. And here we would have any kind of item. So if I refresh this, this will go back to normal. Eventually we have something, but of course this should not be shown the moment we are not anymore in as you can see here, when we are not anymore I forgot the name, when we are on large screen instead of mobile. So this was for me also quite a practice, but this is basically how you could do it. So if I go back to mobile view, you can see we have this everything and goes back here. There you are.